The new Black Clover chapter is essentially a public campaign for Yuno to become the Wizard King, and another major battle is about to unfold. Lucius' paladin transformation is finally shown, and his unique horn suggests he might be possessed by the purified devil soul of a supreme devil, potentially granting him another powerful magic ability. He might be among the strongest currently. If he were to go against Asta, I'm confident he will be defeated instantly. However, I believe he's about to clash with the Black Bulls and the Witch Queen. As for the identity of this devil's soul and why Lucius knew the Black Bulls were up to something, you will find out at the end of this video. The big question is, does he know that Asta is alive? And how? Could there even be a traitor among the Black Bulls? Let's talk about it. The new Black Clover chapter picks up with the ongoing war in the Clover Kingdom. The citizens are beginning to realize that their enemy is the former Wizard King, Julius Novachrono, known for being the strongest person. Of course, they are not aware of the whole Lucius-Julius situation. Just when all seems lost, a voice rings out in the capital. The voice is none other than Marx, advisor to the Wizard King. This is an interesting moment because Marx has been missing from recent chapters. We last saw him briefly at the conclusion of the second saga when Julius' identity as Lucius Agratus was revealed. He appeared to be about to say or reveal something to Julius, but Tabata intriguingly didn't show us what Marx said. We didn't even see his face or his emotions. It was a suspicious moment that seemed important. Since then, Marx hasn't been seen. He wasn't at the award ceremony, the banquet, or the captain's meeting. Let's keep that in mind. He turns to the citizens with the help of his magic and tells them that the enemy has taken possession of Julius' body. So he somehow compares Julius to the paladins, probably to show Julius in a better light, so that people won't be afraid of Julius when Lucius is defeated, assuming Julius somehow manages to return. So you could see this moment as a kind of foreshadowing that Julius might actually return. Marx explains how the enemy is incredibly strong, yet the people continue to risk their lives to protect their country. He even shows how Yuno has already defeated Lucius once. To the citizens, it must seem like Yuno, now officially the Golden Dawn captain, is the next Wizard King. Remember, William was essentially considered the next Wizard King, and Asta is believed to be dead. Mimosa for some reason also begins to address the citizen using Marx's magic. She introduces herself and then Yuno. She talks about his strength, his amazing magic and everything else. Next, an I told you so moment. Sake actually tries to be useful for the first time. I didn't talk about this much, but every now and then I suggested that Sake isn't just a joke character, and that he will eventually change his attitude. Well, but his magic is instantly destroyed by one of the angel paladins. Next, the scene quickly switches back to Hino country. Ryu uses his all-seeing eye to figure out what is going on because they are confused as to why no one has picked up Asta yet. By the way, I'm also a little confused why it looks like none of the people from the Land of the Sun are planning to come with Asta. Even in the last chapter, it looked like they were only preparing Asta but not planning to participate in the battle themselves. For example, for the same reason that all the other kingdoms are not participating in the battle in the Clover Kingdom. Probably because they all need to protect their own homeland. This is Judgment Day. The Paladins are planning to wipe out all of humanity, not just the Clover Kingdom. Ryu's the Shogun, not the Wizard King. It's possible that Lucius clones will pop up all over the planet. And the fact that Damnatio is in the Witch Forest clearly shows why it's so important to protect your homeland. Which of course doesn't mean that this probably very long arc couldn't develop in a direction where many important characters from all sorts of places somehow end up on one and the same battlefield. Perhaps there will even be a final arc. Remember that saga and arc are pretty much the same word in Japan. So when Black Clover announced the final story arc, it doesn't mean it's the final story arc in the sense that we understand it. For example, the Land of the Sun was clearly a standalone arc in my opinion, the Land of the Sun arc, within the Ultimate Wizard King saga. And now we're in, let's call it, the Day of Judgment arc, where everyone is fighting to protect their land. If this is indeed the final arc, it will mean that there is no way for Ichika and Ryu to meet Yami properly if Asta returns alone to the Clover Kingdom. Maybe in the last chapters when they will all party together or something, but in my opinion that's just not enough. In the middle of a fight you could put a lot more emotions. So yeah, if everyone except Asta stays in the Land of the Sun, it's a sign that Black Clover is far from over, and that there might even be another arc, or that this arc will be extremely long and move in the direction that something will happen that will bring all these important characters together. Anyway, back to Ryu using his ability. The way he uses his ability could confirm that Ryu can't see into the future. However, it's a bit more complex. Look, Ryu took off his eye patch to use his power to figure out why they haven't appeared yet. So he needs to remove his eye patch to see what's happening in the present, or to visualize the answer to a specific question. Remember, he had to use his eye to find the herb, so it's like he has a power that shows him a vision in response to a certain question. For instance, show me where the herb is, or show me the dragon's weak points, or show me why the black bulls haven't appeared yet. But we've seen him use his ability without removing his eye patch. This implies that he only needs to take off the eye patch when he uses his, let's call it, vision ability. He knew the exact moment and location where the bandits would appear. It seemed like he could foresee the future, unless he did it somehow with Ki. If that's the case, it means Ki can be used to perceive intentions to such an extent that it shows glimpses of the future based on people's intents. If that's true, then Asta might have learned this in the past 3 days. So Asta could predict a person's actions a few seconds into the future just by understanding their ki. It's like a cheap version of time magic. But if it has nothing to do with ki, then it must have been Ryu's eye, suggesting it has an ability that can be used without taking off the eye patch. For example, looking into the future. I mean, how else would he know that the Black Bulls were going to pick him up even before they found a way? He must have already known the future. The scene then shifts to the Black Bulls in the Witch Forest. As they try to summon Asta, Damnatio shows up. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I suspect he might be possessed by one of the purified devil souls. I know possessed isn't the right word, but you get what I mean. Lilith and Nama are gone, so unless Lucius somehow got their souls, they won't be reincarnated as a human paladin. Adramelech likely made a deal with Lucius, who promised him a life as a devil, so he's out too. Astaroth obviously not. Lucifero is dead. Lily possesses Beelzebub's soul, Megicula doesn't fit Damnatio, Asia would be a better fit, and it's very likely that Lucifugo's soul is in Morgan, leaving only 3 devils: Baal, Belphegor, and Asmodeus. Belphegor could belong to Yami because of this toilet running gag. Either Yami already has Belphegor's heart from the Qliphoth ritual, or if he dies, he should be revived with Belphegor's purified devil soul, unless he's somehow linked to Lucifugo's as well. So it's most likely either Baal or Asmodeus. And the last thing is, how could Damnatio know about the Black Bulls in the Witch Forest? This suggests Lucius knows about it. Now the question is, how much does he know? And how did he find out? He might know they are trying to find Asta, which would mean he knows Asta is alive. Or at least he suspects that Asta might still be alive. This would make sense if we assume all paladins are linked to Lucius, which would mean even though he wasn't in direct contact with the 3 paladins, he knew what was happening to them. He might not have seen Asta through the other paladins for the same reason he can't see his future, but he might have guessed that Asta for some reason might be there. Maybe we underestimated Lucius. We should remember that for some reason Lucius decided to let Asta live. He wounded Asta so that he was barely alive, but not enough to kill him. He could have defeated him, but he didn't. So I'm not entirely sure that Lucius revealed everything he knew about Asta and the future. For example, Lucius could know about the Black Bull's plan if there's a traitor among them or someone who's in contact with Lucius. At the moment there are only 3 possibilities. First, Nacht, because, well, there are tons of clues why. It's a big theory. He basically showed up too late to save Yami and didn't train Asta until right before the Spade Kingdom arc, when he could have done it much earlier. In fact, he knew about devils since years, and he didn't tell anyone. The basic idea behind it is that the book Faust is the reference for Nacht's character. Faust is his last name. According to this book, there is a possibility that Nacht might firstly be in contact with the Witch Queen, and second, he could have an interest in necromancy. It's suggested that he wants to resurrect someone. So I theorized that Nacht was trying to resurrect his brother Morgan, because I assumed that his soul was being held captive by Lucius, since Morgan stopped the ritual. The idea that souls can be resurrected proved to be true, and the idea that Morgan would be resurrected also proved to be true. The last thing that would really confirm my theory would be if Nacht turns out to be a traitor, who has been working with Lucius all along because he feels responsible for Morgan dying because of him, so he tries to bring him back. The second possibility is Sakura. It's hard to explain why I'm working on a theory about that at the moment. The basic idea is that she must have seen a lot that is actually important to Black Clover during the time she was watching the 5-leaf clover, and yet she never said anything. Think about it, she knew where the sword was hidden, so she knows who hid the sword, and probably many secrets we are trying to find out. Maybe she even knows about Astaroth, so why doesn't she tell anyone about it? And the last possibility is the Witch Queen. I explained the exact reason for this possibility in the last chapter review. Feel free to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more Black Clover content, then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.